I'm Paul Feiner. I'm the Greenburgh Town Supervisor, and we're going to have a very cheesy program today. Today, my guest is Jessica Galen, and Jessica is the Dobbs Ferry Village trustee, but she also is very popular in Dobbs Ferry and in the surrounding area because she owns a cheese shop pretty much across the street from Stop and Shop in Dobbs Ferry on
Cedar Street.
On Cedar Street. And what's the name of the store?
It's called Bloomy Cheese Provisions.
And could you maybe tell us just a little bit about the cheese store?
Yeah. So at a cut-to-order cheese shop, people come in and ask for tastes of cheese before they buy it. And they're working directly with the cheesemonger to select the cheeses that they want and then get exactly the quantity they want. So it's not like a lot of shops where you just go in and grab whatever has already been cut. So you're learning a little bit about it. You're having this tasting experience with the cheesemonger, and then you're going home not just with a piece of cheese, but also with a story behind it, with a sense of where it's from, who made it, what the cheese making tradition is, things like that. So it's more than just kind of grabbing a piece of cheese and throwing it in the shopping cart.
So it's not the same, right? It's not the same type of experience as going to a grocery store.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're really coming in for the expertise and the care because, cheese is a living, breathing thing. It continues to evolve even after it leaves the cheese caves or the production facilities. So, going to a specialty cheese shop where folks know how to take care of it and tend to it as it ages does make a difference in the product that you get in the end.
What got you involved in cheese?
I was in a graduate program called Food Studies at NYU and wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with it and just kind of shopping around for part-time gigs while I was in school and started working in a cheese shop in New Haven, Connecticut and got bit by the cheese bug. It just really blew my mind that there were so many amazing cheeses being made in the United States that I'd never had, so many different flavors and styles, and they were really highlighting American producers at that particular shop, and I had primarily been exposed to, the famous European cheeses like Gruyere and Brie and things like that, and just realizing that there was so much more to it than those kind of top 5 things that are widely available.
You're also a Dobbs Ferry Village trustee.
I am.
And having a lot of main streets around Westchester County, they have the typical, stores. Having a specialty cheese store is really a little bit more unique. Does that add to the Dobbs Ferry downtown business community?
To have the cheese shop?
To have a whole variety.
Oh, yeah, I think so. I mean, we're so fortunate in Dobbs that we have this really incredible restaurant scene. I think we have a huge number of really amazing restaurants for the size of our village. And so I think we're already kind of known for our food, but kind of expanding that out beyond just restaurants to specialty food shops like the Pod by Coco Compassion, which is a really extraordinary chocolate shop. She makes bean-to-bar chocolates right on site. Her hot cocoa is out of this world. Her chocolate chip cookies are unparalleled. And then we have, Rochambeau, which is one of the oldest businesses in Dobbs. I think it's about a century old. It's an amazing family-owned wine shop right across the street from Bloomy, which is really fun. We have a lot of folks go get their wine and then they'll send them over to Bloomy for a cheese recommendation or vice versa. So that's a really nice collaboration. We've got a new bakery coming in on Cedar Street as well. We have amazing Mexican food. So I think the diversity of the independent businesses in Dobbs is really, really special. And I feel really fortunate to be part of that business community.
And you also have amazing art studios at 145
Absolutely.
Palisade. There's dozens of art studios in one building. So Dobbs Ferry is a really, exciting and quaint, community. Is there an order that you should eat cheese?
Basically, you just don't want to kill your palate you don't want to put yourself in a position where you can't taste something because you tasted something stronger before. So if you're doing a cheese tasting, for example, like a guided cheese tasting, I'll do the mildest cheeses, kind of the fresh goat cheeses and the brie styles, all the way on the left, and then we'll move our way toward like the stinky gym sock blue cheese zone, because it's really hard to taste the nuances in like a milky triple cream if you've had a stinky blue. You know, your palate is sort of just shot. So you want to keep that in mind. But most of all, it's important to enjoy cheese and to, you know, support as many small cheesemakers as possible when you're doing it.
Do you make your own cheese?
I don't make any cheese. I just bring in cheeses that amazingly talented people around the world have crafted for us.
And how do you find the cheese products that you sell?
Yeah, the cheese world is a really, really amazing one, as with most, you know, nerdy small industries. There's gatherings across the year. So the American Cheese Society Conference is a really important one. I go every year. It's in the summer. And there's an event at the end of that conference called Meet the Cheesemaker, where probably, I think, more than 100 cheesemakers from around the country will come and have cheese samples out. And it's the day after the big judging kind of winners are announced for winners in, I don't know, dozens of categories, and then also the kind of best in show winners. So, you know, if there's a cheese that I've never heard of before, a cheesemaker whose cheese I haven't tried, I can go and taste it right there, right after I learned that they won, you know, bronze in the soft ripened goat category or whatever it is, and I might not have had the chance to just taste it in a one-off way without that facilitated event. So that's really great. I try to visit farms as much as I can. I don't get out as much as I would like to. But I think that the community is very education focused and very kind of collaborative. So, you know, my distributors that I work with are always trying to send me samples of new cheeses that they're bringing on that they think Bloomy and our customers would be interested in, that they know that we're the kind of shop that can shepherd these more unusual cheeses to people's plates.
Are there other cheese specialty stores in Westchester?
Yeah, there are. There's amazing cheese shops. Second Mass in Pleasantville is wonderful, and Dobbs and Bishop in Bronxville. They're both amazing cheese shops that were in Westchester before Bloomy was here, but we're, you know, all really supportive of each other and want to see each other thrive, and we're spread out across the county. So it's a nice, you know, if I hear that someone lives closer to Second Mass or closer to Dobbs and Bishop, I'm always sending them there. And you know, there are folks coming into Bloomy who said that they met someone from one of those shops who said, oh, you live in Lower Westchester, you know, you should check out Bloomy.
So being
really nice.
a cheese shop owner is different than being a politician, where you have to be critical of your opponent.
Yeah, you know, I mean, even with politics, you know, it's like, it's more about what do we have to offer? It's not about like someone else is doing something wrong. It's just like, this is what we have. This is what, you know, when I was running for trustee, this is what I have to offer. And if that's of interest to the community, like, I would love your support.
What's the most popular cheese that you sell?
Hands down, it is called Prairie Breeze Cheddar. It's a cheddar from Iowa that comes in 40-pound bricks. And it's got a little bit of sweetness to it, and those crunchy crystals, which are kind of formed when amino acids break down over the course of the cheese making and aging process. So it's got this nice crunch. It's got a nice craggy texture, a little bit of sweetness, and it's literally the cheese I hand out at Halloween. I stopped handing out candy, and I only hand out cheese, and kids love it. The grown-ups love it. Now it's our third Halloween doing it. I might have that wrong. I think so. So it's been really fun to see that now the community knows, like when they go trick-or-treating in downtown Dobbs Ferry, they can come to Bloomy, get a little piece of cheese, kind of mix it up with all the candy they're getting elsewhere.
Since you're sort of a specialty store and there's not a lot of competition in Westchester, do you get most of your clients from Dobbs Ferry, or are they from all over the region?
I think for the shop itself, it's more river towns focused. I do a lot of classes all over the county, which is a really nice way to kind of bring my offerings elsewhere. You know, I did a class up in Bedford a couple of weeks ago. That draws, you know, a different crowd. I do with Rochambeau. We've done a few collaborative events at St. George in Hastings, and St. George is so well loved all over the county that folks will come from all over the county to go to a cheese event and cheese and wine event at St. George. So it's kind of a mix.
That's great. Can you eat cheese if it's moldy?
Yes, absolutely. If it's the mold that's supposed to be there, you should eat it. And a lot of, even if you think about, brie or camembert, that white stuff, that's mold. That's Penicillium candidum. That's, the mold that is connected to penicillin, the source of the antibiotics. So that is meant to be there. It is, in the handmade versions of these cheeses, those rinds are delicious and are meant to be consumed. If you, have a block of cheddar in your fridge and it gets a little blue spot on it, just cut it off and you're fine. Basically, if it passes the smell test, it's fine. Cheese will let you know when it's past its prime.
And when they have these expiration dates, I've been reading that sometimes these expiration dates really are not true expiration dates. If it says sell by December 1st, when's the last day you could actually eat?
Right. I mean, it's sort of hard to say with a kind of cheese that's meant to be consumed at a younger age, like brie style cheeses and fresh goat cheeses, that, the shelf life on those will be shorter, but there's nothing kind of magical about that expiration date. It's not that there's some exact timeline. Again, if it smells good and it looks good and it's not covered in, something really atrocious, I would say cut it off and see how you're doing. If it's not pleasurable, you shouldn't eat it just because cheese is meant to be pleasurable. You should enjoy it.
Do any restaurants in the area have specialty cheeses?
There are a few that have cheese plates or that source cheeses for their menus that are kind of doing some cool stuff. It's definitely, I've chatted with a bunch of chefs and helped them kind of think about how to put together a cheese plate that reflects, the values that they're bringing to bear in the rest of the menu, whether it be, local sourcing or, sustainably made cheeses. So I don't have, there's no one yet that has a, curated by Bloomy Cheese plate on their menu yet, but that's something I would love to do. If there's ever a chef that wants to collaborate on that with me.
Are there any types of cheese that you should or should not melt?
You should or shouldn't melt. You can try with anything. There are cheeses that won't melt. But, I think the cheeses that are most, that are best, the best melters are the cheeses from, in the Alpine style, so the cheeses from the Alps in Italy, Switzerland, Germany, that have the kind of curd structure that kind of sticks together as it's warmed up rather than just breaking apart. So that's why when we think about Swiss cheeses and we think about fondue and raclette, those are kind of the cheeses that when you pull it, when you warm it up and you pull it, it's got that cheese pull, because those curds can handle being stretched out as they warm up. So if you're looking for a good melter, look for things like Comté, Gruyere, Emmentaler, Appenzeller. Those cheeses are all amazing melters.
So when your customers, come to the store, it sort of seems to me that since there's so much specialties, and the products you sell are unique, do you have to spend like a lot of time with most of the customers, or do people just order and then leave?
Yeah, I mean, I think like if you're coming in, folks will let us know if they're in a rush and I've got 5 minutes, I need cheese for 10 people, help me out. We can do that. But a lot of times people will make a special trip because they want to have that conversation, and we'll talk to them for as long as they like. Myself, the cheesemongers who work for me, they all love talking to customers about all of these, nerdy cheese stories. So we will have those conversations as much as people want to. I do recommend, if you are looking to have cheese for Thanksgiving and you want to have those longer conversations, come earlier in the week, because by Tuesday, Wednesday, and even we'll be open on Thursday of Thanksgiving, it gets a little bonkers. It's hard to find that time. But, then we also do platters. So if you just, you need cheese for 25 people, you can put in a platter order and we'll give you a little bit of information about what's on the platter, but you don't have to have the whole lengthy conversation if that doesn't work for your timeline.
But you seem very passionate about cheese.
Very passionate about cheese.
You, day, night, evening, weekends, you're
Anytime.
always thinking of cheese.
Yeah, what's not to love? I mean, how lucky am I that I get to hang out with cheese all day?
Right. Is having a like specialty business harder than having like a typical business, say on, in a downtown area? Do you feel that, the job of, making a business successful, does it require more work?
I mean, I think any business in a downtown is really, really hard work. I mean, I don't need to tell anyone that, main streets have been decimated over the last, 30 or 40 years, and we've grown accustomed to convenience. We've certainly, over the last 5 years, grown accustomed to everything showing up at our door whenever we want it. And it really takes a special effort for someone to go out and make a stop just for something like their cheese plate. If you're already at the grocery store, why not just pick up a few cheeses? And I completely understand that. So being a kind of business that's like only there for when people do have that extra time, that is hard. I also think because of all the other challenges with downtowns, in Dobbs, for example, we don't have a very robust retail environment. We have these restaurants, we have wonderful services like incredible, salons and Pilates studio and other places where people can kind of go regularly. But as far as like window shopping and browsing and just, wandering into town, we have less of that. So I think there is kind of a special effort that it takes to come and go to Bloomy or go to Hi There, which is this adorable gift shop right next to Bloomy, or, it does take a little extra effort. But that's also why I think all the work that's being done at the county level, at the state level, to invest in downtowns and to revitalize downtowns and take that really, really seriously is so well placed. And we're really fortunate that in Dobbs Ferry, we've been working really hard on that for a long time, and we've benefited from some of those grant programs. And
does Dobbs Ferry have a lot of tourists? Because all the river towns is really very charming and quaint, and it's so close to the train station. Mm-hmm. So do you get a lot of out-of-towners?
We don't get a ton. I think, folks tend to head to Sleepy Hollow and Tarrytown, especially around Halloween. So we get some of that. Someone might get off the train a little earlier, get back on, and go up to Sleepy Hollow, but we don't have a tremendous amount in the downtown. I think the waterfront park, which is right at the train station, does attract folks from all over the county and from Rockland and from New York City, because it's an amazing, amazing waterfront park. We have, top-notch jazz concerts and other concerts there all summer. So that is definitely.
Yeah, sometimes I get jealous because when I'm in Dobbs Ferry, I said, didn't think of this for East Hartsdale Avenue. I love the lights.
It's cute, right?
And, I love the Dobbs Ferry Festa, which is like no Festa, I think, better than that, like anywhere. So I do get a little jealous.
Well, come hang out.
Yeah. I'm jealous because Dobbs Ferry, the downtown area, that's what I'd like East Hartsdale Avenue to be. Have you ever thought about like having a second business, a second cheese store?
Yeah, I would love to
mentioned
sometime.
that because I'm hoping that if there's a vacancy in Dobbs Ferry
and
Greenburgh, you would go.
Let me know. I mean, I don't want to take from my own business, but I think right now you were just asking about, some of the difficulties of having a brick and mortar business. I think, with the tariffs and all of the economic uncertainty right now, that hits businesses like mine really, really hard.
So you, since you get cheese from all over, how has the tariffs really impacted the prices and also your sales?
Well, they mostly hit at the end of the summer, so unfortunately that means they hit right before Q4, which is hopefully going to be our busiest season, but it does make me worried that, I've tried to hold back my prices as much as I can. My suppliers are doing their best to kind of give us price breaks and kind of partner with us on cushioning the blow here. But we have had to raise some prices, and that's really unfortunate because it's not like the money is going to, it's not helping American cheesemakers. It's certainly harming the international cheesemakers. It's harming the businesses, it's harming the consumers. So I am concerned about that. And, it also means that I'm buying different things because I'm already buying cheeses that are handmade, that are quite on the upper end of the cost spectrum. And, people don't want to spend $50 a pound on Gruyere, even if it's the best Gruyere in the world, because that's kind of crazy. So luckily, I just saw this morning that apparently the Switzerland tariff, which had been 39%, is apparently being negotiated down to 15%. So we'll see if that actually happens. 15.
And it may not even, the Supreme
Court may overrule it. But then, okay, well then, yes. What does that mean for everything we've already paid the tariffs on? I don't know. But yes, hopefully that will happen. And I'm very relieved about the Switzerland situation because we love Swiss cheeses for the holidays. We love Swiss cheeses for the winter. As I said before, they're the ones that melt really, really well. That's what people want, as they're kind of gathering with family and having these nice, cozy moments. And, I was thinking I would really have to pare back on that. And there's actually just been an article in the New York Times about Swiss dairy farmers slaughtering dairy cows because the United States is such a huge market for Swiss cheese, and because our purchasing dropped so precipitously when the tariffs went into effect, the farmers just can't afford to keep feeding these cows and milking them and making cheese when, we're not here to buy it. So it's a little kind of sliver of a story that I think points out like how real and how harmful these tariffs are, with zero benefit really to anyone. I mean, maybe some checks, I don't know. We'll see what happens with supposedly these checks getting cut, but I'd rather just people spent less money on cheese and all these other things in the first place.
What's the hours of your store?
We are open Monday through Saturday, 11 to 6, except we stay open until 7 on Thursdays.
Oh, wow. And how often are you in the store?
I'm there part of every day, but luckily I have a lot of amazing cheesemongers, as I was saying before, so they really run the counter for the most part. And then between, my work as a trustee and having 2 little kids still in school, I need to maintain a bunch of flexibility during the workday. So I'm kind of in and out, bouncing all around.
Do a lot of people, when they go into your store, do they also talk about politics and government?
Yeah. I mean, less politics and more kind of like, oh, I heard something about, that this was going to happen at the park. What's going on with that? Or like, I really need to talk to you about this problem I have on my street, or whatever it is. And I actually love that, because I love that I'm so accessible, that people know where to find me, that they feel like they can just come in and talk to me about what's on their mind in the village, and not feel intimidated, to not feel like they have to come to courtesy of the floor or like track my email down on the village website. They can just
you
can't
hide. You can't hide.
I can't hide, but I don't want to hide. So it's great. It honestly, it all works together in that way.
So actually, that's like another point, that maybe there's value for every community to have a local business person who lives in the community on their boards.
I think so. I think we benefit from it a lot in Dobbs. Our newly elected mayor, Christy Nell, is one of the co-owners of HUDCO, which is an amazing co-working and event space in that 145 Palisade building that you were referencing.
So amazing that.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, she's been working on economic development since she was initially on the board about a decade ago, was off for a few years and was reelected last year, and then just was elected mayor. So she's been working on this for a long time. I've been working on this for a long time, and I think just having someone who's in the downtown or in these business communities every day, really living the experience of, the traffic flow and the parking challenges and all the things that people want to talk about, it means that I have firsthand experience, and it also means that folks, there's no barrier to come to talk to me about it. So.
And the other businesses probably have more confidence, because they know that even potential businesses, that if they're considering Dobbs Ferry as a business area, that they have access now to the mayor, who's a local business person, and a village trustee.
Yeah,
so that's
and
that's really great, because all downtowns everywhere are having problems.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely challenging.
Are there misunderstood cheeses?
Definitely. I think I talk a lot about goat cheeses and blue cheeses. A lot of people come in and say, I don't eat goat cheese or I don't eat blue cheese. And I think that it's a completely understandable perspective based on the kind of widely available versions of those. But I always take that as a challenge. If someone comes in and says, I hate all blue cheese, I will always try to get them to try at least one. And I have a spectrum of really amazing blue cheeses in the shop, including some that I call gateway blues. And, it's an invitation to try a blue that might not have that metallic kind of soapy thing that sometimes people don't like.
If somebody's having like a party and there's leftover cheese, what do they do? Or what should they do besides eating more?
Well, you should leave it out and eat it. You can make, chop it all up and make a really yummy mac and cheese the next day. There's nothing better than like a little midday snack of yesterday's platter's cheese with like a couple olives and a couple pickles.
And is there also any breakfast cheeses that you would recommend? If somebody wants cheese for dinner and lunch, what about breakfast?
Yeah, the fresh goat cheeses always go really well with like eggs and things like that. But I love a savory breakfast, so I'll put, scramble some eggs, even some hard cheese. It could be a cheddar, it could be a Gruyere, olives, some tomatoes and cucumbers, things like that. I think any cheese can be good for breakfast.
We only have a few more minutes, but if somebody doesn't like red wine, but they like white wine, is that okay? Because people usually with cheeses, some people think that they're supposed to eat it just drink red wine.
With red wine, yeah, absolutely. There's a ton of cheeses that you can have with white wine, and especially if you have a white wine with a stronger kind of backbone and some earthiness to it, like a little bit of skin contact.
And we only have 2 more minutes left. Could you tell us where your store is located again?
Yeah,
the address and how they get in touch with you.
Yeah, we're at 3 Cedar Street in Dobbs Ferry. So we're 2 storefronts in from Broadway. So if you're going up and down Broadway, we're right there. Our website is bloomydobbs.com, BLOOMYDOBBS.com. You can always email me. My email address is saycheese@bloomydobbs.com, and we're on Instagram at bloomydobbs.
And is there like a season when you do more business than others, like say the holidays?
The holidays. The next 6 weeks is the biggest for our business, for sure.
Oh, that's great. Anything else that I left out?
No, I would just say if you're looking for something really special for holiday tables, cheesemakers make certain cheeses that only come out this time of year they're higher fat, they're richer because of what the animals are eating this in the time of year that leads up to the holidays. So just like Beaujolais Nouveau comes out, the week of Thanksgiving, there are seasonal cheeses for the holidays that are really, really special and can really elevate your holiday celebration. So love for folks to come in and chat with us about what we've got.
Great. Well, again, if you ever decide that you want to have a second business, I hope you'll consider Hartsdale.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
I'm Paul Feiner, Greenburgh Town Supervisor, and I'll see everybody soon.